All right, let's talk about something really deep today. It's this powerful and honestly pretty confusing experience where your sense of who you are gets completely tangled up with what you achieve. It's a thing called achievement identity fusion, and it's where success stops feeling like a choice and starts feeling like you have to do it just to survive.
So, let me ask you this. Does this sound at all familiar? You feel like you can do anything, you're totally on top of it, but at the same exact time, you feel like you're just one tiny mistake away from everything completely falling apart. If that hits home, you're not alone. It's one of the biggest signs of this fusion between what you do and who you fundamentally are.
And this really gets to the heart of it. It's like you've got these two dueling voices inside your head. There's the competent one, the one that says, yeah, I got this, I can handle it. But then there's that other voice, the one that's always whispering, I'm not good enough. This is going to be a disaster. This isn't just having a little self-doubt. It's like two different people are at war inside of you all the time.
So, the big question is, where does this battle even come from? Well, here's the revelation. It's not some personal flaw. That constant drive to overachieve, it's actually a brilliant survival strategy. It's a shield you built, probably a long time ago, in a world where you learned that just being good wasn't ever going to be good enough.
There's actually a term for this. It's called the safety behavior. It's basically anything you do to try and feel secure when your environment feels unsafe. So overachieving, going way above and beyond, checking your work 3, 4, 5 times. It becomes the only way to create this little bubble of safety where you can finally, maybe, take a breath. Seriously, it's a masterful adaptation, not a character flaw.
And this quote, wow, it just hits the nail on the head as to why. If you grew up in a narcissistic environment, the standards are literally impossible. Just to get basic recognition, the kind of acknowledgement that every kid needs, you had to perform at a superhuman level. You weren't just trying to get a good grade, you were fighting just to be seen.
And here's the craziest part. Even when you did reach that inhuman level, the goalpost would just move again. Any success you had would be instantly torn down. They'd make it seem like no big deal, or they'd make fun of you for it, or they'd claim they could have done it way better. Or, and this one's a real mind-bender, they'd hint that your success was somehow a threat to the family. So the takeaway is, you never ever feel safe because the ground is always shifting under your feet.
Now, this whole dynamic doesn't just disappear when you grow up. It creates a permanent battlefield inside of you. You end up carrying these two very different versions of yourself, both of them born out of that same need to survive.
And I want to be really clear. This isn't just all in your head. It's in your body. Our nervous systems literally store the memories of those childhood fears. That panicky feeling of being one step from ruin, that's not just some random thought. It's a physical response your body learned years ago as a way to keep you safe.
This quote is just so incredibly powerful because it captures the emotional truth of it all. It doesn't matter how old you are or how successful you become. A part of you is still that little 6-year-old, running home with a perfect test score, just hoping, begging for a single pat on the back from someone who was never, ever going to give it.
So you've got these two selves living in one mind. There's that younger part of you whose entire sense of security depended on getting approval from someone who was fundamentally unsafe. But, and this is so important, you also have your adult self, the one who's here right now. And that adult self is completely capable of creating its own safety, of giving its own validation, and can finally look in the mirror and say, you know what, I got this.
Okay, so that brings us to the path forward. And the goal here isn't to start another war and try to get rid of one of these selves. It's all about integration. It's about completely redefining where your sense of worth actually comes from.
And here is the absolute key. The goal is not to silence that inner critic. That voice is there for a reason. It's a fossil of a strategy that once kept you safe. Instead, the real work is to hear that voice, acknowledge it as an echo from the past, and then let your strong, capable adult self get in the driver's seat and make the decisions for today.
So how do we actually do this? How do we break the cycle? Well, first, you have to see the pattern for what it is, to recognize that overachieving is a safety behavior. Step 2, and this is a tough one, is to acknowledge the grief, to actually mourn the supportive childhood you deserved but never got. Then you start to actively empower your adult self. This means practicing self-validation and learning to disengage from those people who are never going to approve of you anyway. And finally, you get to do the most important work, redefining what success even means to you, moving away from chasing external approval and toward what feels right on the inside.
I just want to leave you with this one question to really sit with. What would change in your life right now if you truly believed that your only job was to just be you? not to constantly perform and hustle and prove that you're worthy of being you. Just think about that. Because that shift in perspective, well, that's everything.